So a number of you have commented or asked or whatever on previous videos, hey, what's that truck in the background and when are we going to see some stuff on that? I hope, finally, I'm able to dedicate some time to this. I brought it home, put it on wheel dollies and stuffed it against the wall. I have not had time to work on it. I've had too many other things going on. I'm hoping now things are starting to settle down. I shouldn't say that out loud because that means, you know, one of my kids' cars is going to break down and I'm going to have to work on that. But that's life. You're in that same role, right? You're going to do this full time. This is just a hobby for you, or you're just trying to get your own project on the road. And that's what I'm trying to do. And doggone it, I just haven't had the time. So hoping things are settling down now and I can do that. We'll talk about it a little bit. This is a good friend of mine's truck. I picked it up this summer from Michigan. And like I said, I brought it home, put it on dolly, stuffed off to the side. There were, I don't know how many owners before him. So there's some stuff we know about the truck, some stuff we don't. And I know some of the stuff that he has done to it or had done to it, and some of the stuff he left the way that it was, and we don't really know why it's that way. But we'll take a walk around here in a minute. This is a 1950 Ford F1 pickup. It is a short box or short bed, single cab, obviously. I'm not a Ford guy. I don't know all the terminology, so maybe you guys can comment down below and help me out here. I'm a Chevy guy, or at least a GM guy. I'm probably actually a Pontiac guy. But nevertheless, I've owned personally one Ford in my lifetime, and the family has owned one other Ford, actually two other Fords. My wife had a Ford Bronco 2 when we first met and got married. I had a 97 Ford F-150 that had a blown head gasket. I bought it for a winter beater and it didn't have any heat. So I owned it for about a month and a half and I sold it. My son had a Ford Focus that was actually kind of the starter car for this YouTube journey. It's one of my very early videos. I hated that car. I hated it with a red hot passion that burns hotter than 1,000 suns. I was so glad when that car finally went away, but it was a fairly popular video content. So I guess a lot of you guys have to work on these things. Who knew? Anyway, we'll take a walk around and look at this. It doesn't run. It did run. I've heard it run. Several years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, I'm not sure when, my buddy went to go move it in his shop, in his barn, turned the key, saw a visual spark in the footwell, and everything was dead. And that was it. And he said something to the degree of, I guess I got to work on that later. And later never came. 3 years later, I acquired it from him. And hopefully, later is here. We'll see if we can get this thing running. But let's take a walk around. I'll show you. There's some fun stuff in here. I'll show you what we're working with. It's a pretty clean truck overall, but it's some little quirky things. So let's take a look. All right, like I said, this is a 1950 Ford F1. It has been mostly a storage tote for keeping stuff I don't have a place for. I've got some old wheels. Actually, these are the wheels and tires that at one time were, I think they were on it. I don't remember for sure what tires and wheels were on this, but he had these as well. And he's like, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a good deal on this truck, but you got to take these wheels and tires out of my shop. So who can't use another set of wheels and tires? Although these tires probably not going to work. It does have an extra door. I'll show you why here in a minute. And that's about the extent of the spare parts that I got with this. Everything else in here is stuff I've tossed in here, like that bag, and there's the winch setup. I created a video on that over the summer. I actually made that winch setup to pick up this truck with a U-Haul trailer. I never ended up doing it, and some of you commented like, we never saw it work on a trailer. Kind of a long story. U-Haul screwed me, and I ended up having to finagle a different plan with a trailer, and so I never got to use it. So one of these days I will make a video on that, and I might just go rent a trailer just for the heck of it, just to show it. The bed here, this is the battery. It's been relocated from the engine compartment, and I don't know if I'm going to leave it there. Come around the front here. It's been repainted black with like some Tractor Supply black paint, flat black. I don't know. It's probably could be rattle can for all I know. There's some evidence that at least part of it was red, which is kind of cool. I'm trying to remember where that was. I was looking around this the other day and I saw another color. For the life of me, I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't red and it wasn't black. So I don't know. There's a little Bondo here, and I was feeling around behind it, and there's a plate bolted to the back side. And I think this wasn't so much a dent as it was rust. And they just cut it out as much as they could, put a plate behind it, and then just filled that hole with Bondo because that's all peeling off. But there's some kind of rough, feels like some rust underneath here that's growing. It could just be bubbling in the Bondo. He gave me the wheels and tires. The tires are brand new. They still have the blue letters on them. Some super cool wheels. I think they're, I don't know if they're American Racing or if they're just like a reproduction of an American Racing, some off-brand, but I like them. They look cool. I like the hot rod look. It's all, so the grill would, a lot of these would normally be silver or chrome. This is flat black. I don't know if it was painted or if it just doesn't have chrome covers on it. It does have the chrome letters. It does have chrome in the hood inserts and chrome plating around the headlights. This side's pretty clean. Fender looks good here. I don't feel a little bit of rust maybe from right there. It could be a little bit of Bondo. Let's see. I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah, just gonna have a Bondo sound to it. So it's interesting. I have seen some online doing some research. I've seen a lot of these trucks have some rust right here when they get, it's kind of the early places they rust out. So maybe that's all it was, and this side just happens to look better. There's a little rust and some rot here, some Bondo. Not too bad though. I think that's probably repairable, but generally the hood's in pretty good shape. In fact, most of it is. Very little rust, very little damage, some little bit of glass damage. I'll show you that here in a second. This is where there's some damage here. The door was open. The story is the door was open a little bit, backing this up to move it, and clipped either a pole or the side of the garage or something. And crimped it. So there's some crimping right here, and it crimped right here by the hinge. There's also kind of a good size dent right here, but I think that was from a different event. Nevertheless, we have a new driver's door that also has some damage to it, but not to the extent this is. That's more like a little bit of rust and some patching. And I think for me, as a fairly new to this whole bodywork thing, repairing that door will be easier than repairing this door. Replace the Ford sort of foot plates with a hot rod plate. There's a little bit of rust on the running boards here, and that may be able to touched up or something. And again, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. The bed's in pretty good shape. Don't see any major damage, and I think this is custom. Made this rear bumper setup. It's even got the corners tapered in, and they're pretty evenly tapered. So I think somebody handmade this. I don't know if they can buy them this way. So it's got newer tail lights, some custom exhaust. Custom exhaust is for a reason. I'll show you that here in a minute. The bed's bolted shut here, so I'll probably fix that if it doesn't open. Ugh. There's the one. The rear glass is broken. That's kind of a bummer. I'm sure this glass is not easy to find and probably not terribly cheap, but otherwise, there's some delamination. The vent here on this side is broken. A little bit of delamination around the window, but not terrible. It's going to need some new weather stripping for sure. That's like rock hard. It's got AC, so that's good. Let's take a look inside here. It's not terrible. For an old truck that's been sitting around a long time, it's been pretty stripped on the inside. Obviously, these are not the original seats. This, I assume, would have had a bench seat in it, I think. I don't know what these seats are from. What do we got here? Got a box with some parts. Oh, those are lug nuts. Okay. It's got some fancy boom booms in the back. Aftermarket Sony radio. Chronometer. So, interesting. I ain't chronominating anything. Pretty much empty in here other than some tools. Hey man, thanks for the tools. Like the cardboard glove box insert. That's pretty cool. Heat, but it's broken right here, so it just pours into the car. A lot of skulls. This is the second truck I've had. What's with the skulls? I don't even know what that's for. Blower. Okay. Floor shifter, but it's actually an automatic. So, and with no lockout, so you can just run through the gears. Super safe. Oh, fuzzy dice. There's a lot of wires that aren't connected to anything. I'll get you on the driver's side and show you some of that. None of the gauges work. Well, actually one gauge works. That one that's dangling off the steering column, that's a tachometer. That's the only one that seems to work, from what I understand. Like I said, it hasn't been running in a while. Obviously, this would have been a 6-volt system, I think converted to a 12-volt system, and so they never put in something to adapt to the gauges, I suspect. But I don't know. Like I said, that's one of those things that's a history I don't know. The power plant that's in here is not the native power plant, and I don't know why it's this one, but I'll show you that here in a second. The dome light up here that doesn't work, although I think the battery's dead. It's got turn signals. I don't think they work. Here's one here that says blink, black. This is black. I thought it said blink. No, I see it says black. There's a bunch of wires, like they tried to label. I'll give them that. They taped them. None of the tape says anything, so not super helpful. There's the fuse panel over here in the footwell. I'm guessing this is where our problem is, but we'll dig into that here later. It's also got air conditioning in the floor, so that's handy. Get some nice, good, cool engine air coming out of there. I do like these gauges. I've always liked these old Ford truck gauges. I don't know why. There's just something cool about it. Like I said, they don't work. I don't know whether to restore these or replace them with like a Dakota Digital or something, but that's a question. Like kind of the future of this truck is still in doubt. I don't know what to do with it. There's another skull and another skull, and I don't know what that does. Anybody know what that is? Let's see, what else we got? There's the aftermarket tack that might work, might not. It's actually pretty clean. Like there's a little bit of rust in the floor, there's some surface rust, but there's no real, there's a little bit there, but not terrible. Like that's patchable. Like I'm not gonna have to put whole new floors in this, I don't think. Although there's some there's some diamond plating in here for something. There's a fuse laying here on the floor. And I kind of wondered, might that and that go, together and maybe be part of our issue? A little storage tray on top of the fuel tank. The fuel tank is locked. I'm not sure if I have a key for that. The fuel filler cap has got a lock on it, and I might have a key. I have keys for the truck. I don't know if I have keys for that. I don't know what this is either. There's the key, and there's this little something. Looks like it was a switch. Oh, there it goes. This doesn't have a knob on it. Choke? Maybe one of these is a choke? I have no idea. Little vanity mirror if you want to check your makeup or your hairdo or whatever. It's about that big, so almost enough you can see an eyeball in it. Stock doors, like these doors didn't have fabric on them back then, so it's a standard metal door. I kind of like it. I don't know, I've seen guys put panels on them and they look super nice, but I kind of like the bare, just sort of the simple look. This door closes kind of hard because it's bent. It does close. You just gotta slam it. All right, now let's go under the hood here. Open. Kind of show you a little bit what I'm working with. Let me get a light. All right, nice thing about these old trucks, old cars, right? Everything's metal, so you put a magnetic light up there and it'll stick versus these plastic composite, fiberglass, whatever. Inside here is a Chevy small block 350. I don't know if that's as uncommon as I feel like it is. It feels a little sacrilegious. Not that I'm opposed to sacrilege when it comes to cars. I've done a lot of that. But it does feel a little weird. I don't know if I want to leave it that way, but part of the release for now, I will, because like I said, it did run. So I know this engine can be run again. It does have all new brakes, or at least mostly new brakes. I don't know if they're all new, but it has a new setup here. So it's got, I don't know what it's got. There's a wire just dangling there. But it is vacuum assisted here. And it's got disc brakes in the front, so they did a front disc conversion, and apparently the rear drums have been rebuilt. So it actually has good brakes, which is super awesome. It's kind of, there's wires everywhere of all different colors, gauges, like different thicknesses. There's a wire panel up here, like a block with one wire in it going to the inside. I don't know what that's for. It was plugged in right there. Let's put it back. That goes in through the firewall. I got red and orange cables here, which I'm presuming at least one is the starter. Yep, there's a starter down there. Okay, stock manifold, but obviously it'll be a relatively custom exhaust, trying to adapt the Chevy engine with true dual exhaust to a truck that probably had a flat six with single exhaust. There's a grungy fuel filter. The fuel in here is at least 3 years old, so we won't want to probably run too much of that. Regular quadrajet. So I think this engine's it's a pretty clean engine. It is, it is chained down. I don't know what that means. There's chains on this side too. So I don't know if that's the attempt at a motor mount. Trying to see if I see any other mounts in here anywhere. Yeah, there's a mount right there. So I don't know why is it chained to the frame? What you think? I got no clue. That's new for me. It's not all locked up. I just saw the transmission stick. It's like a sword handle, knife handle back there. So that's cool. I believe the engine's out of a GM truck, like a C10 from the 70s. This is awesome. The trans fluid's pretty clean though. That's a good sign. That doesn't strike a whole lot of confidence. Let's take a look at the oil here. It has oil. It's full. It smells a little gassy. That's not terribly surprising. There's also a bunch of wires that just don't go nowhere. Like there's some here. There's one there. Yeah, there's some other evidence that it might have been red. And then there was a blue, or maybe that's just primer. There's some red in there too. There, like there, that's blue. And then the red over top. So it almost looks like it was blue, then it was red, and then it was black. I don't know. It's also possible that it's been hodgepodge together. So maybe like the hood is from a different color or a different truck, and it was blue and the truck was red, and so they painted the, I don't know. I have no idea what to do. We're just gonna start picking at it and see. Oh man, what do I do with this? I don't know. Keep it kind of rat rod, hot rod? Spruce it up a little? I think I want to spruce up the interior a little bit, make it a little more comfortable. Do I keep it a Chevy power plant? Do I change to maybe like, an older 302? I've maybe 302 with an automatic out of like an old Mustang, or maybe a truck, an old like late 90s or something. I've heard the Ford Explorer power plants The V8 power plants, the 5-liter, and it's automatic, and even the rear end are pretty much drop-in, bolt-in for these trucks. I read that somewhere. I don't know. I joined a Ford truck forum yesterday for the first time. So I'm totally new to this, and I would love to hear what you guys think about this. What should I do? Make a fancy show truck out of it? This is not a flip. This is not a sale. I'll never sell this truck, and if I ever do, I'll sell it back to my friends. So this is not going to be something that I want to try to turn around and flip. But also not something, probably given its value, I'm not going to dump a ton of money into it, and just trying to do it a little bit on a budget. So I'll be doing, if I'm doing any kind of swaps, they'll be junkyard or wrecked truck, Explorer, whatever. I'm not buying, Summit Racing power plants for this thing. Keep it black, paint it. The red sounds kind of cool. I actually thought about like a matte green. I do like the matte colors. I think that would be kind of cool. I don't know. What should I do with it? Let me know in the comments. The first thing I want to do is see if I can get this thing running, and we'll go from there. All right, I've been futzing around, just taking a look at wiring. I went and got some grubby clothes on, climbing around in there. Wiring is an interesting endeavor. It's a bit of a nest of wires. I was able to trace where like the important wires go, and I don't see anything wrong other than, I'll show you this in a minute, one of the wires from the alternator looks a little melty. So, but that's just the alternator. So I don't know, maybe it was just none of the fuses are blown. The battery was stone dead though. And it's from 2017. That's 8 years old. I'm sure that don't work no more. So I went and got a new battery. I did make sure it at least turns over. So I did put a wrench on the crank and was able to turn it. It turns a little tough, and my wrench sucks, and it slipped, and got myself pretty good on the fan shroud, which is nice and sharp. So I think I'm gonna just hook a battery up. I got a new battery, and batteries are expensive. Man, I remember used to be able to get batteries for like 60 bucks at Walmart. Now this was $200. We'll put a fresh battery in, and we'll see if anything catches on fire. I don't know. I hope not. But I got the fire extinguisher at the ready, just in case. And then I'll probably hook the remote switch up, and we'll just see if we can get this thing to bark off. I don't care if it starts. I don't care. I don't actually want to run it just yet, because I don't have any idea. I haven't gone through fluids. I mean, I've looked at the oil, but probably should change the oil. Probably ought to flush the radiator. It's been sitting a long time. I'm sure it's got some sediment in it. And the gas, Lord knows how old the gas is. So I really don't want to be sucking a bunch of varnished fuel into the carburetor. I haven't even really looked at the carburetor that much to see what that looks like. Just want to see, is it gonna snap off? And if it does, then we'll dig in all that other stuff. We'll disconnect the battery, and we'll go back and start turning into mechanicals. But if there's a wiring issue, then I'd rather take care of that first before I arc anything and cause a problem. Okay, got the switch hooked up. Let's get the battery put in. Okay, moment of truth here. Nice. We have smoke. Alrighty. Shoo. Yep. That melty wire is melty. Shoo. Let's vent this place out. This wire right here was smoking. It was pretty melted. Looked like it had some melting issues before. I thought maybe it was because it was touching the manifold there, but the exhaust manifold, but I think maybe it's just melting from the inside. It has melted itself to other wires, so I got to figure that out. I'm going to disconnect the alternator for now. That wire actually just burned right off. So I'll go down there and pull the entire alternator wiring off. That's this whole bundle here. Okay, so that was bad. I'm not sure what was going on with that wire, but it don't look good. Maybe it got chewed on by some mice or something. But it just cooked. So So that was the wiring for the alternator. So we just disconnected that wiring altogether. I've got the battery hooked up now. I don't smell anything. I think that's good. I've been futzing around with this wiring here for, shoot, a couple of hours. And a couple of things I'm finding. First of all, I'm not doing any fancy tracing. I'm just like manually, like this wire is connected over here, follow it through. This comes in the firewall over here, and it comes here. Here's what I found. So that white wire back there is the main incoming power feed coming right off of the, basically where the battery connects, the positive terminal connects to the starter. So there's a positive cable coming to the starter from the battery, and then from that same point out to a bunch of places to provide constant 12 volt, and this is one of them. This wire here comes from the, also from the battery, and kind of in line with the battery gauge, the voltage gauge. So that's also constant hot. This fuse here was blown, and I put a new fuse in it, and immediately that fuse blew. So I've got a short somewhere. So I got thinking about, okay, here we go. Like, man, I wish I knew more about automotive wiring. I'm still learning this stuff, so I don't know a ton. So I got thinking about what that might be. Well, obviously it's going to be a short somewhere on this side, on this circuit, right? Because these other fuses aren't blowing. And I still don't know why that's true, but here's what I found. This wire here was one of the wires that was going to that, what I thought was a ground block on the firewall. And it was connected up here on that screw terminal. This wire, also coming to that same bar, that bus bar there, comes from the accessory part of the ignition switch. So when you flip the key to accessory, this energizes and then lights up all these. And these are all, there were various things plugged in, a horn. Here's the dome light. There was the dome light. Let's try to plug that back in. Headlights, turn signal, all kinds of stuff. I've cleaned this up and just disconnected a bunch of stuff to keep it as clean as possible, since none of that stuff works, and I didn't want it to add to our problem. I was trying to just get this to the bare minimum and see if we can get this to turn over. So I just disconnected this wire, and when I did, that fuse stopped blowing. So that's good. So that, I believe that was our short. We're basically grounding to the block. That said, I don't know where it gets a body ground from. Like, I don't know where this is. Everything that's in here is getting a ground, and it must be getting it from somewhere, but I don't know where. So, doesn't this stuff, all these accessories, need a circuit? Like, it needs a ground, needs the negative and the positive? I don't know. Like I said, I'm new to this. So, once I got that going, then I'm not blowing fuses anymore, but I'm still not getting any juice to the ignition. So, I think I've got more work to do. All right, so I've tested just about everything I can figure. So this is the dome light. And when I connect right to the white wire with the battery connected, if I even just go right up here to there, that's a battery connection. The dome light is on. So that has 12 volts. If I go on this side though with the key on, I get nothing. But even still, so here, dome light's on. Here, on the other side of that fuse, no dome light. But the fuse is good. That doesn't make any sense to me. If I test the fuse tests fine. Where's my other connector? There. I won't be able to show you because I can't hold at the same time, but maybe you can hear it. This is the fuse. Continuity. So I have continuity on that fuse. I have 12 volts at the top of that fuse. I don't have 12 volts at the bottom. I don't understand. took all the fuses out and just used a small wire brush and brushed each one of these contacts. I brushed them on kind of both sides, so like angle it this way and then angle it this way and get the inside. I think there's just some corrosion in here. And I think it's also true of the fuses. Some of the fuses look a little better than others, but so I got all new fuses. I'm gonna replace them all, and then we'll plug everything back in and see if it works. I'm probably gonna end up replacing this with a modern fuse panel, maybe like a whole wiring harness, because this wiring is a bit of a mess. Multiple wire nuts, different kind of connectors, tape. Here's just connectors just hanging free. Let's hook the battery back up. And let's see if she'll bark. Come on, Betty. I believe in you. I don't necessarily believe in my ability to keep track of the keys. There they are. Okay. Sweet. All right. Crank problem resolved. I still a lot of wiring to mess with, but I'll deal with the wiring later. So I'm pretty sure the fuel's terrible. I'm pretty sure the carburetor needs to be rebuilt. Man, that carburetor's nasty. I mean, it's just nasty. So I think I got a small pump. Why does it get that gas tank out of there? Easier probably just to pump the fuel out. I don't know how much fuel is in it, but I bet it ain't very good. So we've got carburetor, carb rebuild kit, fuel line, and a new fuel filter coming tomorrow. I don't know for sure that I have spark yet, but junk fuel. So I wonder if I could just pour some 2-cycle down the carb and get it to bark. Let's put the spark plug tester on. Let's see if we make sure we're getting spark. We'll just pick one. Just turn the key on so it will juice up the... Oh, I never did plug the distributor back in. That would help. You numbskull. Where'd you go? You were... green one. There we are. Ouch! Son of a gun. That did not feel good. There we go. That would help with trying to get spark. Keys on. We'll use a remote switch here. We'll see if we get spark. I do not. It's pumping fuel. I can smell it. There's something distributor-wise wrong, and we're not getting any spark. So, why might that be? I'm getting 12 volts. Because I already tested that. I'm getting 12 volts to the connector for the distributor. Guess we will stop there for now, and I will have to research those GM HEIs. I really don't know much about them. So we figure out what's going on with the HEI, because like I said, I'm not getting any spark, at least on that. What is that? That's number 8 in the back. So at least on cylinder 8, I'm not getting anything. I could move it to another, just a heck of it. I don't think that was plugged in all the way. Let's give it one more bark here. Hey, that was it. It wasn't plugged in all the way. So I went to take this plug off and I'm like, whoa, that just fell right off. That's not good. That's our problem. So, yo, hey, easy there. One. I did expect it to start. She runs. I'll be darned. So it wasn't spark, just my spark tester wasn't plugged in all the way. That's embarrassing. But once I got it hooked up right, not only does it spark, it barked right off. I mean, instant start. So even with some really like garbage fuel in it. Awesome. All right, well, I'm still gonna rebuild the carb because they could use a rebuild. We'll give a new fuel filter on it, drain that fuel out, put fresh fuel in. We'll do oil change. I might drop the trans pan, although the transmission fuel looks pretty good. At least do an oil change in it because the oil looks pretty old. And I have not even looked at the water. I don't have any idea what we got for coolant or water in it. This giant radiator. It's got stuff in it. I can't really see in there very good. I don't know about brake fluid. It's got new brakes, but it's been a minute. It's full, super full. Okay, carefully put that back on. Now that we spilled brake fluid everywhere. Oh, it's got smoke on the header, so that's pretty awesome. The transmission's a little scary. I can't tell what gear it's in. But at least this didn't rocket forward. It does not have a neutral safety switch or anything like that on it, so if it's in gear, it'll jump, I think. So I think it was in neutral, but because I rolled it in here and in neutral. All right, man, it started. That's awesome. Okay, well, she runs. That's exciting. Like I said, we got some work to do with the fuel system here. I don't know how old this fuel is that's in here. I'm gonna drain it out and put a new fuel filter in, do a rebuild on the carb, change the oil. Transmission fluid looks pretty good. Radiator has water in it, so for now, I'm gonna be okay with that. I'm probably not gonna run it long enough to get particularly hot. I still have to rewire the alternator back in because we have no alternator right now, so we're not charging the battery. And I still don't know what to do with all this wiring. I think we got it running. I think I'm just gonna put a little bit of tape on that, loom it back up just to get it out of the way, clean it up a little bit, do some zip ties, and call it good for now until I figure out what I want to do. Like I said, probably will be a new wiring harness, but I think I want to check some other things off before I do it. So I don't think it's a matter of if, it's probably a matter of when. Hey, lots to come in this. There's a lot of work to do in this truck. This is going to be a long-running series, so I don't usually ask for stuff, but if you want to hit that subscribe and the bell and all that, be notified when these truck videos come out, I'd appreciate it. It helps the channel, and hope you enjoy the content. This is going to be a fun project. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Whew, it runs.